Why you acting like you so surprised, man? You raised Roller. You wrote the blueprint for his moves, man. Why wouldn't you want to take out the boss? It's the same shit you did to Breeze. Living large up in this penthouse done made you lose your mind or some shit, man? Oh, man, ain't no friends out here on these streets. Niggas is hungry, looking for their next meal. They want to take it from you. All of them. Roller too. You know when a nigga wants something, a nigga got, that nigga want you dead.
Do whatever the fuck I want to do. Isn't that what you did back in the day? Didn't give a fuck about what nobody else think but you, right? Put me in jail.
My son ain't had shit to do with that, man. This is between you and me, Kay. If you gonna kill me anyway, I'm just asking you. Why the fuck he gotta get hurt?
Keep your mouth shut, all right? Don't say nothing else. When you say something stupid and I'll put a bullet in your brain.
Only these old heads call me Branfield. Around the way on the block, niggas call me Breeze.
Breeze? What?
Start with Breeze. I didn't want to kill Breeze. I love Breeze. I was your age when I killed him. I killed Breeze because he got in the way of my future. What Kanan didn't know, what Kanan couldn't tell you, is that I gave Breeze one more chance. I asked him to change his mind. He didn't. So he forced my hand.
Kanan, Ghost, and Breeze really shaped this entire power universe. That is obviously the topic of today's discussion. And, you know, after 10 long years of having this power universe, of seeing all of these shows, all these storylines, it really feels like things are starting to kind of make sense now. And I see things from a different perspective. And we're going to get right into all of that. But before we get into the topic of discussion, make sure you guys check out my last two videos, Mecha, how he could have been a legend, one of the most fumbled characters in the Power universe, and also my most previous video, This is How Tariq Can Surpass Ghost. I'm sure a lot of you guys will enjoy that one and kind of theorizing about that, so check those videos out. Let's get into it. So when you dissect this whole Power universe from the beginning, you start to kind of see that everything really started with Kanan and his family. Particularly between Kanan and Rock. That relationship is kind of what kickstarted the Power universe, and how, you know, Rock was in the game and, you know, she was trying to kind of keep Kanan out of it, she claimed, but, you know, Kanan kind of pushed to be in the game, and that obviously led to Kanan growing in the game, becoming the character we know in the OG Power, and obviously connecting with Breeze. And one of the things about Raising Kanan that kind of ties into this is because they use everyone else's storylines who surround around Kanan to kind of connect to what we see in the future, right? Every single person around Kanan, from Lou, Marvin, Rock, Jukebox, Famous, everyone that's been around him, Snaps and Pop, and obviously now Breeze, have all kind of played a role in him becoming who he is and him thinking the way that he thinks. And even in the original Power, you kind of see why Kanan is the way that he is. You see some of the moves that he makes in the strategic planning that he goes about, you know, when he was even plotting against Ghost while he was in prison, and even when he got out and, you know, he had faked his death or whatever. Like, they do such a great job in the storytelling of making everything come to fruition. And I'm curious now with, you know, season 5 being the final season, what kind of moments are going to impact, you know, what we see in the future? Like, what kind of huge moments are going to pop off in season 5? Obviously the final season, that are going to lead into Origins, that are really going to shape Kanan even more as a character, right? We know he had some, you know, fallout with Jukebox, some fight where she gave him a scar, so we are waiting on that for sure. Now, when it comes to Breeze's role, obviously Breeze is a character that we've all heard of, spoken on since the beginning of the original Power, right? It's been 11 plus years since we've heard of Breeze's character, and we're all seething at the teeth to see what kind of impact he's going to have in the Power universe, what kind of impact he's going to have on Kanan specifically, and then eventually Ghost and Tommy, right? And we already know this character dies, but the story of what made, you know, Ghost want to kill him, what made Ghost, you know, kind of feel a distance from Breeze to the point where he felt like he could take him out. Obviously, we know this is the game, but like Ghost said, he loved Breeze. He felt a connection and a close bond to Breeze, and for that connection to be even a little bit broken, there had to be some sort of disagreement about the future of the business, or even the future of their friendship and things of that nature. So that's something that I'm very, very curious that, you know, I hope we get to see, and they really go into depth in obviously Power Origins that we are all waiting on. Because I think ultimately the death of Breeze may have also, you know, created a disconnect between Kanan and Ghost, right? Because in the OG Power, you always hear, you know, Kanan talk about how Ghost killed Breeze, and, you know, how he set him up and this and that, and, you know, he took over, you know, his spot in the game. And it's almost like Kanan was a little bit salty. It's almost like Kanan felt like that was a shot at him, or he felt betrayed. That's kind of the vibe that I would get, that I would feel, right? When he would talk to Tariq and talk about how, Ghost did go Breeze so dirty, and how he waited for him, and that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get a sense from Kanan that he didn't really like the fact that Ghost took out Breeze, being that, Kanan was the one who had that relationship with Breeze first, and he probably ultimately introduced him to Ghost and Tommy, right? Ultimately, when you think about it, Ghost really did the same thing to Kanan that he did to Breeze. The only difference was he didn't kill him, right? Ghost made it very clear when he told Tariq he got rid of Breeze because he got in the way of his future, and he didn't see things the way that he saw things. And, he decided he wanted to move on from Breeze. He gave him a final chance. But with Kanan, he said he loved him like a brother. He had, probably a closer relationship to Kanan than Breeze. So, he didn't want to kill Kanan. He decided to send him to jail because I guess Kanan didn't want to run the business the way he wanted to run shit. Kanan was being reckless, and he felt like Kanan was going to get them all killed. So you see these parallels, guys. You see these parallels between these different shows and the overlining storylines of how each person's come up leads into the relationship with the next person. And you see kind of the repeated storylines, the repeated betrayals, just in different time zones, in different universes. That's all it really is. And if you want to take things even a step further, look no further than the relationship between Tariq and Ghost, right? Tariq felt like Ghost got in the way of his future. Now, obviously, that was a little bit more extreme, right? People like to use that excuse of, well, Ghost is going to send Tariq to jail, he's going to turn him in. But any of the real viewers knew Tariq was never going to go to jail, bro. Ghost was about to be lieutenant governor. Ghost made it very clear he could have gotten Tariq out of that little pinch. He had killed his sister's murderer. He would have got some juvie time. Like, he would have been good. He didn't have to kill Ghost, right? But obviously, going back to my earlier point, it's the same parallel, right? Ghost told Tariq he killed Breeze because Breeze got in the way of his future, and Tariq took that and internalized that and said, well, damn, if that's the reason that I need to kill my father, that's all the reasoning that he needed to kill Ghost, because Ghost felt justified doing the same thing to his close friend, to his brother Breeze, right? So you see all these parallels coming forth in these different shows. You see kind of the storylines repeating once again. And obviously we know that led to the demise of all these characters. Kanan, Ghost, Breeze, they all got taken out, right? Each by each other. And then obviously Tariq took out Ghost and Kanan, right? So, well, Tariq didn't really take out Kanan, but he kind of plotted and set things up along with Tasha, but it's really the same thing. And, we see a lot of these parallels over and over and over in the universe. And, it all makes sense. It all adds up. You see these three characters, they really built this universe. Like, their storylines and their experiences, the relationships between each other is what has really shaped the Power universe. And, after seeing Raising Kanan and seeing the OG Power, and now seeing the Power Origins is coming, and you see how things are, coming to fruition at the end of Kanan, you see, like, damn, like, the relationship between three people really shaped an entire universe. And obviously, we didn't really know that much about Breeze up until now. We still don't really know that much. But it's going to be really interesting to see, like, once Power Origins is over with, once Legacy is over with, once this whole Power universe in general is over with, we're really going to be able to overlook a lot of these storylines and kind of piece things together, and it's really going to make sense. And I think as long as the writers stay on top of this and don't get too lazy and don't get too comfortable, man, it's gonna be a beautiful piece to a puzzle when it's all said and done. Appreciate you guys for tapping in on me with this one, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.